Hi, normally I'd be doing this outside, but it is like -6 and it is extremely cold. So I'm going to do something. I'm going to talk more about solar today and the expense and cost that you're going to incur if you just even want to get enough solar to charge things. Now, this is not hooking up a power inverter. If you have a lot of items that run off batteries and you want to get rechargeable batteries, I'm going to go through this, I'm going to talk about this, and I'm going to talk about a way you can get rechargeable batteries and charge them off of a solar set. Now, I did go through, I chose two solar sets. One is a 100 watt, one is a 200 watt. Now, the reason being is, the way I see it, solar, if you get a 100 watt panel, then you're going to be lucky a lot of times to get anywhere between 65 and 80 to 85 watts per panel. Now, if you're going to be using this for other things, and that's the way I figured it, you may have a tablet, you may have a laptop that you want to charge as well. That's why I chose two separate sets. Now, what I did was I went through and added up the cost for everything that I picked. Now, I picked a lot of stuff that you can find literally at a hardware store, and I will go through why I chose these items. These are all items you will need, from the solar panels to the battery for the panels to your rechargeable batteries to the wire to the terminals. I will show you everything you need that you can hook up a small solar system, just a real tiny one, to recharge rechargeable batteries. I will go through the cost, I will go through the benefits, and I will go through reasons why it's not so good. It all depends on you. Alright, let's come over here. Now, you can see what I have over here is a few different items. The reason I have all these items out is because each one basically is a different battery. This little light takes AA's, and it is very old. You can see the bulb's not that great, but yeah, it'll eventually brighten up. I have had this for many years. I've had to like literally tape the battery compartment shut because it won't stay shut, but it still does work. This takes AA's. Of course, we have a power bank. A lot of people have these for charging your phones, things like that. Now, here we have a fan. Now, this runs off of D-size batteries. So I am counting D's, and we have a little push light. Depends on what you have will determine what you need to purchase. Now, up there, my radio, well, actually it's the radio I purchased from my girlfriend. Her radio takes C's. So the batteries I need are AA's, AA's, C's, and D's. Another reason I need D's is our tankless hot water heater also runs on D's. I don't know if you can see that and hear it. That takes D's. This takes AA's. Of course, you know what that is. And AA here. Now, what I have is I have a universal battery charger. Now, the difference between this battery charger and a lot of other battery chargers is I purchased this one. When I purchased it, I absolutely knew what I wanted to do with it. I did not want to have a power inverter, a DC to AC power inverter connected to my solar setup to be able to charge rechargeable batteries. Now you can see I have a couple of D's in here. This can charge 4 batteries at a time or 2 9 volts. Okay, now this battery charger powers from a USB. That is what I wanted when I purchased this, because I did not, once again, have to rely on a DC to AC power inverter. I wanted something I could just plug in and charge the batteries as needed. So we have a variety of batteries and rechargeables, and the cost of rechargeable batteries is very, very expensive. And I'm going to go through this. I apologize if the camera shakes. And I'm going to show you the total price and exactly everything that I chose. Now, this is the 100 watt panel. This comes with a 30 amp charger controller. That means you can actually add 3 more 100 watt panels to this. Now, when I added the price up, I did not add their sale price, because you can see here 1 day, 19 hours left. So I added the price up by what the actual price here says, which was $149.99. Now, to build a system to be able to charge rechargeable batteries, that includes the rechargeable batteries, ring terminals, the USB port, a battery, the total cost will be $299.77. Now here's what this includes. It includes 20 AAA rechargeable batteries, 8 AA rechargeable batteries, 4 C-size batteries, and 2 D-size batteries, an 18 amp hour 12 volt battery, the USB battery charger, which is this, the wire, the disconnect and ring terminals, and the USB and 12 volt plug. That includes everything. And I'm going to go through and show you what I chose for a list for you. Now, on the not AA, but the AAA batteries, I show a couple different ones here, because some are cheaper and depends on what you need, or depending on what you need, you may not need 20 AAA batteries. But since these lights of mine take 3 AAAs, 20 AAA batteries would be sufficient for me, but it may be too much for you. Now, the next one I would say go with. There's nothing wrong with this. There's nothing wrong with a 100 watt. But remember, this is a 100 watt starter kit. But remember, solar panels have a huge flaw, which is you are hardly ever going to get 100 watts out of this panel. It will be more like anywhere between 65 and I'd say 85, sometimes 90 watts on a good day. So if you're wanting to use something like this to also charge smartphones, laptops, tablets, then will this work? Yes, but you're going to be right on the edge, because a lot of laptops are 65 watts or higher. So if you're wanting to charge or run a laptop, or charge a laptop or whatever at the same time you're charging your batteries, you really need to go a little bit higher than the 100 watt. The next picture is the 200 watt set. Now this is $208.99. That's on sale. I added the price for $219.99 when I added this up. Everything here is $358.77. That includes 20 AAA batteries, 8 AA batteries, 4 C-size batteries, 2 D-size batteries, the USB battery charger, which is here, the 18 amp hour 12 volt battery to connect to your solar. And once again, I believe this is a 30 amp charger controller, and if it is, you can go up another 2 panels. This also includes the wire and terminals, USB and 12 volt plug. And I'm going to go through everything you need And the reason this price will vary for you is because I looked up everything online. Some of this stuff can be purchased at any hardware store. And the ones I found online, you don't need that many for a lot of things. And I'll go through and I'll explain that. Now, $358.77, that is everything. That is the batteries, the battery to connect to your solar. That is everything I will go through. First, 12 volt, 18 amp hour rechargeable sealed lead acid deep cycle battery. $35.99. I know it's a small battery, but you have to understand something, especially if you're just charging something like this. This does not take a lot of power. So a battery like this would be fine. Even charging your laptop. Now, what I would say is if you're charging a laptop or running something, my portable DVD player has a 12 volt plug to it that I can plug in. My laptop, I have a 12 volt plug that I can plug in, like a cigarette lighter plug. As long as my solar is picking up power, especially during the day, it will have no issues. This battery will have no issues. And for charging small stuff, battery packs, rechargeable batteries, yeah, this battery would be fine. And once again, it's $35.99. You will need one of these. Now, the reason I'm saying one of these and not just the USB plugs, you want a power port, because you can take that power port and you can actually plug in adapters that run off of 12 volt. Your laptop, I believe some tablets come with a cigarette lighter plug. Same with some cell phones. You can get a cigarette lighter plug that plugs in here or here. But the laptop definitely would have to plug in here. This is $9.95. Here is the battery charger. Now, you can buy a variety of different battery chargers, but if you're wanting to get a small solar system that does not use a DC to AC power inverter, you have to make sure you get one that runs off a USB. This battery charger right now is $18.99. Just for the battery charger. You can see it's still, and it is plugged in there. So if you're wanting to recharge batteries strictly off solar, then you don't want to have a power inverter. Now, the thing about a power inverter is you're also using power and losing power through your inverter. That's why I decided to go with this type, because I would not have to use a power inverter to recharge chargeable batteries. Now, this charger here can generally charge 2 batteries in about 3 to 3.5 hours. It charges 4 batteries in usually about 6 hours. And that is $18.99. Now, I'm showing you the prices so you understand that everything added up is going to cost money. Even just to recharge rechargeable batteries if you're wanting to do it off solar. Now, here is a 12-piece of AAAs. Now, I added in for the 20, not the 12. If you buy 12, it's cheaper. It's $17.99 for 12. But 20 is not that much more. That's why I went with the 20. 16 pieces is $20.99 for 16 AAA rechargeable batteries. 20 pieces is $23.99 for 20 rechargeable batteries. Now, that's why I went with this price and this set, because it is not much more than like the 16 batteries. A few dollars more, and you can get a lot more batteries, 4 more batteries that you can keep charged all the time. Now here is the double A's. These are 8 double A's for $14.59. Here are the C's. Now I chose these. They're 5,000 milliamp hour batteries for $15.99. I apologize. I was going to try to make this video a little bit quick today because it's seriously cold, but I want to go through everything you need. Now these are the D size. Now only 2 D batteries. They're 10,000 milliamp hour batteries are $12.99. The D's are really expensive. If you don't need D size or C size, you don't have to buy them. If you don't need like double A's, you don't have to buy them. You don't need triple A's, you don't have to buy them. This is stuff I need, or I have. I do have D's. And this takes the D's. I do have C's. They're up there with my girlfriend's radio, because it takes C's. I do have triple A's, and I do have 4 double A batteries only right now. Now this is what you're going to need too. This is something you don't have to buy online. You can buy this at any hardware store. Ace, you can possibly find them at Walmart. A lot cheaper than this. This is the 10-12 gauge female quick disconnect terminal. Now this is a 25 pack. You don't have to buy a 25 pack because really you only need 6 of these. So you can probably find this a lot cheaper at a hardware store. If you can find it online, less than this for less, because like I said, you only need 6 of these. Now I did add the price, this price, when I added my numbers up. Now here's where it gets interesting. This wire here that's red and green, this is 10 AUG, 10 gauge. It's 99 cents a foot. You need 3 of these, at least 3 feet. Right? So I added $3. You need 3 feet or longer of each one of these. Depends on where you're going to put your everything else from your battery to your USB adapter. That's what this is for. It goes from your battery to your adapter. Now here you need ring terminals. What you need is 1210 AUG ring terminals, and you will need 6 of these. Unless you force all the wire in a larger ring terminal, what happens is on the back of your USB plugs and your 12 volt port, each has a positive and negative. So that's 3 each. 3 positives, 3 negatives. Now you can twist all those wires together and use a larger AUG to put all wires in there and crimp it down. That's fine. Or you can use one on each one of your cables. If that's the case, then you will need 6 of these, or something larger where all your wires can fit, you would need 2. Okay? And that price was $5.79. Now once again, we're back here. If you go with the 100 watt panel with the 30 amp charger controller, which you can add solar panels to this, 30 amps can handle up to 4 100 watt panels. Once again, the total for everything is $299.77. That includes the batteries, okay? That includes everything needed. It includes the battery for the solar panel. Now I'm going to go through and show you the cost added up just for the rechargeable batteries. $67.56. That's just for the batteries. That is for 20 AAAs, 8 AA's, 4 C's, and 2 D size batteries. That's almost $70 for the batteries. Like I said, if you're going to go with something like this just for recharging, what I would go with is the double panel set if you could. And you can always expand on this, another 2 panels. That includes all the batteries, everything needed, including the battery charger. Now, can you add a larger, more powerful battery to this? Absolutely. If you could afford one, I would. But remember, this is just for charging. This is just for charging stuff and running like a laptop, charging your batteries. You know, very low powered USB stuff or 12 volt stuff. Now, if you had a large enough, heavy enough battery, could you run stuff that you normally wouldn't run off this? Yes, but it would take longer to charge. Now, I want to go over something real quick. I was talking to someone, they were having problems with their batteries going dead really quick. Now, what they were doing is they had a power inverter hooked up that would literally stay on and it would drain their batteries below 50%. Now, I'm going to talk to you real quick. This is a drawback of solar systems. And I don't care what battery it is. I don't care if it's lithium. I don't care if it's AGM. I don't care what kind. Lead acid. Lithium is built, yes, better. You can draw lithium down a great deal. You can recharge it pretty much to 100%. But if you want your lithium batteries to last, don't charge them over 80%. That's lithium. You can drain them almost completely or completely. But if you want them to last, don't charge them over 80%. Lead acid batteries. It's a complete different monster with lead acid. If you want a lead acid battery to last, never pull it below 11.1 volts. Ever. And what was happening is the person I was talking to, their power inverter was drawing their batteries like dead, down to 50%. And it was destroying their batteries. A lead acid battery is best if the power is above 11.1 volts. If you've gone down to 10 volts, your battery's probably destroyed. When using lead acid, and that's what the other battery is here that I'm showing is lead acid. If you're using it on solar to run things, to charge things, if your solar system can actually put in the same or more power than is coming out of that battery, your batteries are going to last. If you're drawing your lead acid batteries down and then your solar's not keeping up with it, your batteries are going to get destroyed. I have literally seen some batteries, especially lithium batteries, where if you get a battery and it's not discharged and then fully charged, let's say you buy something. Let's say you buy a cell phone. Comes with a lithium battery. And you don't charge that battery. And then you just start using it and it's down to like 70% when you buy it. Now, all of a sudden, you figured out your battery isn't lasting like it should because that battery wasn't charged fully when you started using it. Anytime a battery sets undercharged, then that can mess up how your battery charges. Lead acid batteries have a better recovery when it comes to that compared to lithium. As you can see, this is charging, still charging. I wanted to go over the cost of what if you just want to buy something that you can charge batteries and buy a bunch of rechargeable batteries. Rechargeable batteries are very expensive, but comparing them to buying a bunch of just non-rechargeable batteries and having to store those, and once those batteries are dead, they're just dead, you can't do nothing with them, then rechargeable batteries do make sense in a way. The problem is with rechargeable batteries, most batteries you buy are 1.5 volts, and most rechargeable batteries are 1.2 volts, which means they have less power in them than your regular battery that you buy, like your Duracell, Energizer, whatever. I believe these here are 1.2s. So like I said, if you just want to buy something to charge stuff with without having to worry about having a DC to AC power inverter, without having to worry about running a fridge or something like that, if you just want to have a way to have lights, maybe a little fan, recharge batteries for a radio, emergency radio, something like that. Now, I do have solar lights that you've seen, the light bulbs. Now, I could actually hook them up to a cable like this right here and plug them in to a setup like this. Of course, it has USB here, and you're adding USB and a 12 volt port. Now, if you don't want to add the USB but just a 12 volt plug and use the USB straight from here, that's up to you. But I would prefer myself that my charger be connected to my battery and not the charger controller, because if your batteries are charging and the sun goes behind a cloud, or for some reason it gets real cloudy and your solar stops producing, this is going to shut down, and then your batteries are going to stop charging halfway. Alright, I apologize for the length of this video, and like I said, I would have done this outside and showed you outside, but honestly, being in the minuses, -6, yeah, I hate being cold, so that's not going to happen. And once again, this is just a universal battery charger. That's all it is. Okay, it does come with a book, of course, in there. Yeah, it's still on the bottom. Yeah. Now, I just went through yesterday and charged all my batteries except for my large batteries. I will be charging them today. When I have, basically, I make days. Every 3 weeks or so, I go through and I make sure all my batteries, my AAAs, my AA's, C's, D's, everything's charged. I usually take 2 days out every 3 weeks or so, I guess. And I make sure everything is charged fully. That way, if something happens and the power goes out, we have a way to power stuff. if you're going to buy a solar system, trust me on this, even to charge batteries or just to charge a laptop batteries, things like that, 2 panels is always better than one, because basically if it's a little bit cloudy outside, you could be getting half the rating that this panel's rated at, if not lower. That's the bad thing about solar, is it doesn't always work efficiently and effectively. The more panels you have, the better off you are. The stronger batteries you have, battery or batteries, going to your solar, the better off you are. But just for little bitty things, it's very expensive. Once again, you may not need 20 AAA batteries, or 8 AA batteries, or 4 C size. Maybe you don't have anything in your house that runs on C's. Maybe you only need 2 D size batteries because you have a flashlight from 1984 that takes D's. This price will vary on what you purchase, if you purchase anything. This price includes everything from the solar to the battery for the solar to all the rechargeable batteries I'm showing. The battery charger, the battery for the solar, wire and terminals, USB and 12 volt plug. It includes everything that you need to purchase to be able to recharge stuff at home. Like I said, I'm not telling you to buy anything. But if you're wanting to go with rechargeables, do not rely strictly on your house power. And do not rely, unless you absolutely have no money for anything else, or not wanting to charge anything else, or can charge things on different days, do not rely on a single panel. Now let's talk about the good part of solar. If your power goes out, you have power. Will it, something like this, run your house? Absolutely not. Would something this small run your fridge? Absolutely not. To run your fridge, you need a lot more battery storage. You need more solar coming in. Would this run a portable DVD player, possibly a TV? Absolutely. Would it run something extremely small or charge a smartphone? Sure. Would it charge like rechargeable lights, things like that? Yes. It's good to have some type of power, if nothing else. Would this give you some type of lighting in a bad situation? Sure. But as a rule of thumb, I say 200 watts for every battery that you have, your 12 volt batteries. I say when you get your solar, because of the way solar works, you can have good days and you can have bad days. So I figure half of that. So if you buy 200 watts, figure, guess what? I have 100 watts. That's pretty much, full time when it's hazy. Now when the sun is really shining, of course, it's going to be way above that. But when the sun's hazy or it's cloudy, I'm figuring 100 watts. Solar has its limitations. And anyone that thinks that we can go all solar all the time and wind generators, they are as dumb as they can be. They don't own solar. They know nothing about it. Solar and wind both have limitations. But once again, if you want to buy a solar setup and not have to buy a DC to AC power inverter for just charging stuff, maybe having backup lights, charging, I don't know, 12 volt drill batteries, things like that, and having rechargeable batteries, a setup like this will be good for you. Now remember, you can find a lot of this stuff cheaper. You may not have to have 20 batteries here. You may only have to have 4 batteries here. You may not need C's or D's at all. That will knock this price down. You can find the terminals probably a lot cheaper at a hardware store that you need to connect this or hook this up. If you don't plan on using any type of 12 volt plugs, if you don't have an adapter for your smartphone, laptop, whatever, you don't need the one with the 12 volt plug. You just need the one with the USB. And you can actually get away without having that at all if you're using the USB on the charger controller. And you can see it is charging. Alright, that is it. I'm fixing to go. If you want more information on the battery charger, where I got it, or anything else that I've shown here, like I said, I would have been outside today showing all this, but it is like -6 degrees. You saw the temperature when I started my video, I believe. If not, I will show you. And the sad thing is, it's supposed to get -11 tonight. And a high of 9. So that's why I'm not outside showing this, because I really don't want to freeze my butt off. But I apologize for the length of this one. If you made it through this, I appreciate it. And once again, solar does have its limitations. Is it nice to have? Yeah. But it doesn't work at night unless you have plenty of battery storage. It can take a long time to charge these batteries up during winter or when it's cloudy or rainy, because your panels aren't producing full power, and trust me, they hardly ever do. So if you see a panel says 100 watt, then figure it can be anywhere from 65 to 85 watts, 90, 95 on a really good day, and on the best of days, it can actually go over 100 watt. But that is extremely rare. And if you want to charge rechargeable batteries and not have to worry about using a power inverter, because if you get a battery charger that plugs in and you're using something like a DC to AC power inverter, you just lost one of your plugs on your inverter. And that's what I was trying to avoid, is not using a power inverter for any of this here. Do I have power inverters? Of course I do. But those plugs on those power inverters are meant for other things. You know, possibly, you know, running my chest freezer, running the mini fridge, things like that. I do not want to lose a plug to charge batteries. That to me is dumb. That's just, it doesn't make sense to me. But having something like a USB plug that is connected to a battery charger, where I don't have to take up one of my outlets, makes more sense. And this way you don't even need a DC to AC power inverter to be able to charge batteries and use these batteries in things like flashlights, radios, things like that. Alright, I'm fixing to go. I apologize, this video is so damn long. I have to apologize for this one. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. Once again, do not charge your yes, do not charge your lithium batteries above 80%. Do not take out more than, I'd say, 30% out of a lead acid battery. The higher you keep a lead acid battery, literally the longer that battery will last you. Can you run? This is important. I'm going to go over this real quick. I do apologize. Can you run microwaves? Can you run deep fryers? Can you run things that draw high power off of lead acid batteries? Absolutely. Now, when I have to do something like that, I try to do that as early in the day as possible, because it's drawing a huge amount of power out of your batteries. And that way, during the day, those batteries can be charging back up. And usually by 5 or 6 at night, my batteries are fully charged. But of course, I also have 400 watts of solar hooked up. So if you're going to run something high power, try to run it as early as possible. That way it can be charging throughout the day and hopefully have your batteries charged up by nighttime. Having 100 or 200 watts may not work for you doing something like that, especially with the small battery I showed here. I mean, a microwave would just tear that battery down to nothing in a matter of probably 2-3 minutes. But if you have a larger lead acid deep cycle or dual cycle marine battery, I would say 2. I have 2. I can run my microwaves. I can run, hook up my chest freezer, my little mini fridge on my 2 batteries. But if I have to run the microwave or anything that draws high power, I only use that as early in the morning as possible, just after the sun comes up. And that way the sun is going across my solar panels all day long and charging those batteries back up. Once again, if you're using lead acid, try to keep them above 11.1, no less than 11.1 volts. If you're in the 10 volt range, there's a good chance you've destroyed your battery, or it will go weak or can go bad really quickly, especially if you keep doing that. And make sure you give yourself plenty of time to charge your battery back up. Alright, I'm fixing to go. I apologize. This is 42 minutes long already. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave it in comments. Have any questions for me? Leave it in the comments. I always answer the comments if I see them. I apologize. Some comments have not been showing up. If you don't hear back from me if you have a question, trust me, eventually I will see it if I go into like a YouTube studio, which I rarely do, but once every month or so I go in there. But if your comment doesn't show up and I don't see it, I will eventually see it and I will respond to you. But if I do see it in the comments, I will respond. I usually respond within 24 hours to any question or comment that's given. And once again, I appreciate your time, and everyone have a good day, and we'll get the charger back in here again. That's it. I'm fixing to go. Everyone have a good one. Bye.